Am I the a-hole for banning my wife's Disney divorce friend's plugins from our house? My wife's friend Melissa 49F is staying with us for a few weeks while she sorts her life out. We have a large home and are very happy to have house guests. She's leaving her husband after 25 years of marriage because she wants to move to LA and work at Disneyland. This sounds like the plot of a bad sitcom, but I'm afraid it's real. Both she and her husband are equally culpable for the failure of their marriage and really bring out the worst in one another. Their relationship has been in a state for as long as I've known them. The problem is Melissa showed up with an arsenal of room scents and sprays and plugins. The smell teenage girl with a side of Forever Chemicals / UD Disneyland has completely taken over the hallway, the family bathroom, my office, and even down 2 flights of stairs into the foyer drawing room and living room. It's strong, it's nasty, and it's made of and smells like all of the chemicals that we avoid. Sidebar, we've been cleansing ourselves of chemical nasties and have curated our home to smell clean and settle. It's part of what makes it feel like home. Now it just smells like teen spirit. Melissa is genuinely lovely and in a vulnerable spot, and I don't want to make her feel unwelcome. But it's our house, and this is something we've been intentional about. However, outside of our personal feelings about plugins, it feels really out there to rock up in someone else's home and decide to bring your own plug-in scents to totally change the smell of the house. I mentioned how strong the smell was, assuming it was a room spray, and how it was overtaking every room. She said, "Yeah, the plugins are pretty strong." I was so shocked I asked her to remove them. I opened up with a sensitive ask, "Hey, those room sprays are pretty strong. Would you mind keeping the door closed if you're using them?" and spiraled a bit when I heard her say plugins plural. My wife told me I was being an a-hole for making her uncomfortable when she is going through a lot, and that I could BTCH to her about it was over the line to ask her to stop. I was incredulous that she thought it was okay to change the scent of our house. Am I the a-hole here like my wife says? I feel pretty justified in my complaint. Edit. To address the frequently asked questions. The plugins are already gone. The conversation pivoted from, "Could you please keep the door closed when you spray the room?" to, "Can you please remove the plugins?" She apologized and removed them immediately. I also spotted, after writing this post, that the intake vent for the central air was about 12 feet from where one of the plugins was. This explains how the whole house got gunked up so quickly. The smell still hasn't gone 24 hours later. In the part of the conversation where the plugins were revealed, my wife informs me that my facial expressions were all over the place, a mix of shock and disgust. I maintained a friendly but firm tone when I asked her to remove them, explained my reasoning clearly. I capped the conversation by saying I hated the smell of them, which was unkind and deeply unhelpful. In my defense, genuinely do hate the smell, and I was so thoroughly flabbergasted that an adult would think this is okay to do that I made an unguarded comment. Not the a-hole. She's making you uncomfortable in your home. Opie replies, "I felt like I was taking crazy pills. It's just not acceptable for a grown woman to decide to add plug-in scents to someone else's home." Not the a-hole. "Most plugins give me a massive headache." Opie replies, "Same, and I need to be able to focus in my office to keep my job that pays for the house you are staying in." Next story. Am I the a-hole for not canceling plans to be there for the birth of a friend's baby? So I 27F reconnected with a childhood acquaintance 29F recently when she moved to my city. My dad and her mom used to work together. We weren't close growing up, but when she moved to my city around 5 months pregnant, she reached out. I know how lonely it can be to move somewhere new, so I agreed to hang out and try to help her settle in. When I moved here, I didn't know anyone either. And now I'm the only one she knows. At first it was fine. I did little things like I drove her to look at apartments she didn't have a car, helped her run errands, and my dad even built her furniture when she got an apartment. My dad came to visit me for the weekend and we spent it helping her settle in. She has no support system. The baby's dad is out of the picture, and she's unemployed, not sure how she's funding everything. I genuinely wanted to be kind and supportive. I even introduced her to some of my friends, and she was so rude to them and then wouldn't stop talking poorly about them. But then things escalated. She started demanding I go with her everywhere. Doctor's appointments, grocery shopping, even to do nails. She started jokingly calling the baby our baby because I've been around so much. She'll say things like, "Our baby is craving fries from McDonald's," and beg me to get them for her. She even offers to pay me. She refuses to use meal delivery apps because she doesn't trust that they won't do something to the food, she says. This has been going on for months. Fast forward. I'm a bridesmaid in my best friend's wedding and flying home Puerto Rico for 4 weeks to help with the shower, rehearsal, wedding, and even organizing her closet in her husband's apartment while she's on her honeymoon. They don't live together until after the wedding. When my acquaintance came over and saw me packing, she lost it. She said I never told her about my trip. She said she was counting on me to be there for the birth, which will definitely happen while I'm away. I leave tomorrow and she's ready to pop any minute, and even expected me to move in with her for the first month after the baby was born to help out, since I have nanny experience. She also told me she was planning on me watching the baby on the days I work from home 2 days of the week. I told her I wasn't canceling my flight or shortening my trip, and now she's furious, saying I'm abandoning her and the baby, that I'm all they have. She's posting about me on social media saying I betrayed her. Her mom, who lives in our state just 4.5 hours away, is commenting and encouraging her. I told my mother about this, and she also said I was a bad friend to leave her and her baby when they need me. That she agrees moving in is a lot, but I should be there during birth, only travel for the wedding, and then come back to help with meals, etc., and told me she won't be picking me up at the airport tomorrow because she knows I'll do the right thing. So, am I the a-hole? What kind of fatal attraction gaslighting nonsense is this? No, you're not the a-hole. You did not agree to be this woman's life partner. You did not agree to be her live-in nanny for the first month. You did not agree to share this baby with her. I mean, do you really even consider her a friend? You are under no obligation to do anything for this woman, and it is absolutely insane that she and your mother seem to think the fact that you have helped her out in the past somehow makes her entitled to more help from you in the future. This is bizarre, and it's even more bizarre than both your moms are supporting this insanity. Not the a-hole, just to reiterate. Opie replies, "Thank you." My mother said, and I quote, "It's easier to just help." Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my daughter's boyfriend propose at my vow renewal? I, 50M, have been married to my wife for almost 25 years. We plan on throwing a huge vow renewal in December. It's basically going to be like a second wedding. The whole shebang. We have 7 kids together, and this regards our baby girl Lala. 20F. Her boyfriend came to me a little over a month ago and asked me for her hand and also asked if he could propose at the vow renewal. He's a great guy, and we get along super well, and I genuinely like him for my daughter. I said yes to both originally and was super excited. A few weeks pass and he asks can he also invite a few family members of his. I was expecting maybe his parents and siblings, but he instead sends me a list of 25 family members he wants to add. I have a few problems with this. His family does not like my daughter. They are Asian and do not like that their son is with a black woman. And considering nearly everyone else there will be black. To be fair, my daughter says he always sticks up for her, and I have witnessed this myself. He expects us to fund these people like regular guests. As I mentioned, this would be just like a wedding. So 25 extra people is a lot of money. I told him I couldn't accommodate that many people. He got angry and said I WSS ruining his special moment and that I don't really care about Lala and said I can't do anything if Thwai just show up. I said they absolutely will not show up. I then told him he still had my hand/permission to marry my daughter, but he was not allowed to propose at the vow renewal. Now him, his family, and my 2 sons both say I was being an a-hole and should just suck it up. But my other kids and my wife say that I'm not an a-hole and that he's crazy. Obviously, Lala does not know about any of this. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. And he's not the great guy you think he is. The fact that he made the comment about you not being able to do anything they just showed up tells you exactly what kind of person he is. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom it wasn't cute or funny to dress me as a hot dog instead of a princess? So there's this new Target commercial going around where a little girl dresses as a hot dog, and it came on while my family was watching a scary movie. I 20F am home from college for the weekend and brought my boyfriend, and my mother 57F decided it would be hilarious to mention that she'd made me a hot dog costume as a kid, except the way she told the story, it was my request. She said that all the girls wanted to be Disney princesses, but I had asked to be a hot dog, and so she'd gone out of her way to make me that costume. This is not what happened, and I said as much. What actually happened is that I wanted to be Snow White and had told everyone, including the teachers, that I was going to be Snow White. I was obsessed with that movie as a kid, to the point where I would actually get invested in doing chores because I was cleaning up just like Snow White. My dad and I would watch that movie all the time, and I was very excited to be Snow White for Halloween, especially because my ballet studio was doing a special princess dance for Halloween and we'd all signed up for special princess slots, and I'd shown up early with my dad the week before so I could get to be Snow White. My mother decided that she wanted to be quirky and that Snow White was a bad role model after I got in trouble for trying to cook dinner for my family. I was about 8, and I tried to make hot dogs like how she made food for the dwarves in the movie, and I made a mess. My mom surprised me on the day of with this crappy hot dog suit and told me if I didn't wear it, she'd never let me watch Snow White again. She took a million pictures. The other girls teased me for months, and it was one of the most humiliating moments of my childhood. I told the real story and mentioned that I got through the day by pretending that she was the evil queen making me dress in rags, but the rags happened to be a garbage meat costume. She got really quiet after that, and after we left, my brother says she was crying and looking at the pictures from that Halloween. I didn't want to make my mom cry, but it's a crappy memory for me, and it felt like she was trying to humiliate me all over again in front of my boyfriend. TLDR, I called my mom out for forcing me to be a hot dog for Halloween and humiliating me as a child after she brought up the story pretending I'd wanted to be. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, wow. What a crap move by your mom and to an 8-year-old. I'm glad you told the truth and stood up for yourself. I hope she learns. Geez, what a witch. I'm sorry that happened. OP replies, I hadn't thought about it in ages until I saw that commercial, honestly. Not the a-hole. She clearly had a different perspective and you set her straight. Just because someone cries doesn't mean they're the victim in this. Especially if the truth is that not only did you not want to wear the hot dog, but she threatened your favorite movie as a result. Wear this or else. Like what the F? If this is true, it's pretty weird and messed up. I'd never force a costume on my child. That's such a weird thing to do. OP replies, she hated Snow White, and Cinderella and Aurora. She was kind of okay with Belle, and really pushed Mulan and Merida on me, but those weren't the ones I was interested in. She generally hated everything I liked, and was really into the whole Cinderella ate my daughter thing. She wanted us to be allies against the other moms of the town we lived in, and I just wanted her to be like the other moms honestly because they were nicer. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not telling a man that the research he was mansplaining to me was my own? I don't normally post on Reddit, so please forgive me if I do this wrong. I 33F work in a very small, technical, specific, male-dominated field. I won't give too much information on it as I think you could easily find my identity if I did. But let's just say it's a subcategory of law. I graduated 9 years ago for anyone wondering. The system in my country is different than in the US, so I only studied for 5 years and am now a lawyer as well as a researcher. I publish some work here and there, but nothing too major, and no one outside of that field knows my work. Yesterday, I went to a bar with a couple of friends who introduced me to one of their friends who works in the same field as me. I was pretty excited to meet him because it's rare to meet people who work in that field. He doesn't exactly do the same thing as I do. He's not a lawyer, but a legal advisor. But we work on the same topics. So naturally, we started talking about our work. At one point, we were discussing a point on which we had different opinions. So I explained mine to him, and he replied by saying that my opinion was based on nothing while his was based on the work of a professional, you guessed it, me. He basically started explaining my work to me, but in a completely wrong way and missed all of my points. I asked him if he was sure that that was what the author meant, and he said that he was because it was pretty simple actually. For another good 20 minutes, he explained all of it to me in details, like I was a first-year law student. I didn't say anything because it was pretty funny to watch him say things that were completely wrong with so much confidence. After that, the topic changed and the night went on. But at the end of the night, right before leaving, I decided to tell him that I was actually the person that wrote the work he had quoted, and that he hadn't really understood it. He reacted very badly and got angry, and he told me that I had manipulated him to humiliate him. He yelled at me for not saying it was my work at the beginning. I simply replied that he had embarrassed himself and left. I woke up this morning to texts from my friends saying I was wrong for causing drama and tension and that I could have been nicer to their friend. I'm not sure if I'm in the wrong there. I mean, yes, I could have told him right away, but is it that big of a deal that I didn't? I'm not exactly sure. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I forgot to make this clear, and maybe it's a bit of a misunderstanding, but both conversations happened only between the two of us. We were the only ones talking about our work, and our friends also weren't really there when I told him that I was the author. So it's not like I publicly humiliated him. The only thing embarrassing for him here is that a woman seemed smarter than him, and I think that's what G had an issue with. Edit 2. I've seen some comments claiming that this post was fake because that just doesn't happen. I've seen many other stories where the same thing happens. That's not realistic. I'm not trying to justify anything because I don't really care, but I just find it funny to see lots of comments from women sharing similar stories and then lots of comments from men saying it doesn't happen. Not the a-hole, and kudos to you for being so calm when he mansplained your own research. Question. Did your friends also reprimand their friend for screaming at you? I mean, that wasn't exactly friendly either. Not the a-hole. This is hilarious. Opie replies, that's how I felt the whole night. Honestly, I was laughing so hard inside I didn't expect him to take it that way. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel our posts.